need a motion to close the executive session.
Yes. Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Need a motion to close the council of the whole.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et seq., notice of which was sent to the record in the Star Ledger and was posted on the municipal bulletin board.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Here.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Mayor LaBrus.
Here. Everybody, please rise for the flag salute.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Before we start tonight's meetings, we do have some proclamations we'd like to read. The first one is, and I see Rabbi Manager from Shabbat Hackensack is here. Welcome. So whereas the Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, a global spiritual leader and tireless advocate for youth around the world, emphasized the importance of education and good character. And whereas the educational system, in addition to acquiring knowledge in preparation of a career, must also focus on building character by cultivating universal moral and ethical values, including the values known as 7 Noahide laws. And whereas, in recognition of the Rabbi's outstanding and lasting contributions, he has been awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, and Congress has established his birth date as a national day to raise awareness and strengthen the education of our children. And whereas the character of our young people is strengthened by serving a cause greater than self and by the anchor of virtues, including courage and compassion, by instilling a spirit of service in our children, we create a more optimistic future for them. Now therefore I, John P. LaBrus Jr., Mayor of the City of Hackensack, along with the members of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the date of April 12th, 2022 as Education and Sharing Day, and call upon all Hackensack citizens to reach out to those within your community to work to create a brighter, kinder, and more helpful future for all. So Rabbi, I'd like to present this to you, if I may. Come up. Thank you very much. Would you like to say a few words? Sure. You need a microphone?
No, it's not. I changed the battery. You just turn it off. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, so much, and thank you to all of you for this special day, dedicated special day. This is a day actually that is being proclaimed by every US president since 1978, both houses, the Congress and the Senate, 50 governors in all 50 states, and hundreds of mayors around the country, to honor the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the leader of the Chabad Lubavitch movement, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, of righteous memory. And what was so special about Rabbi Schneerson, he was always trying to find ways. The reason why this day is dedicated as Education and Sharing Day, he always tried to find ways to get people together. One of his most memorable quotes was when Mayor David Dinkins came to meet the Rebbe in the 90s, and there was a lot of tensions at the time, racial tensions, and the Rebbe told him, I yearn for the day that we're not going to speak anymore, we're not going to classify people by who they are, where they came from, the color of the skins, and instead we are going to remember that we were all created by one God for one purpose, to make this world a better place. And I thank you so much for making this day a special day. I know Hackensack is a diverse place, this is a strength, this is what's so beautiful about the city, and I thank the mayor, I thank all of you for always celebrating with the Jewish community, being part of the Jewish community, joining in our celebration, and now designating this day as Education and Sharing Day. And I hope we all walk in the Rebbe's of blessed memory path, in always trying to get together, finding what brings us together, finding the divine spark in all of us, and together to build a better future for all of us and for our children. Thank you very much.
Try.
My wife does the same.
And next to yours.
Yeah, we need one.
Okay, and our second proclamation is actually a certificate of recognition. Would Colin Clark please come up, please? How you doing, Colin? Pleasure to meet you.
They want to throw that in John.
So we have, this is Colin Clark, obviously you can see that he's a Boy Scout. He has a certificate of recognition from the Mayor and City Council of the City of Hackensack to thank Colin Clark and the Hackensack Troop 5 Boy Scouts for building an ADA garden table and expanding the community garden. So everybody, those of you who know, we put a community garden in Hackensack a few years ago. It's a great space. And I don't know how many beds we have there now, but there's quite a few.
Over
And over 40, so over 40 garden beds there. And the Boy Scouts were good enough to put in an ADA. Is there a picture of the table there? Going through it. This is obviously the garden. All right, garden spots. And this is an ADA compatible table, so it's there for people with disabilities. It's built so that they can easily access it and plan. And it was a great project. Who thought of it? Was it you? Or?
Yeah, it was help of me and my dad and stuff.
Great idea. It's a great idea because, you know, the park has access for everybody now, and that's great that they can do that. So the city of Hackensack really appreciates it. Anything you want to say, or? No, you're sure? We're so shy at this age, they don't want to get down. Anyway, thank you very much. How about we take a picture? You're going to be as tall as the rabbi.
Making you look short, John.
Who's got the big camera? You got it right there.
Alex got one and I just heard it click over here.
And if I'm not mistaken, you're going to achieve the rank of what pretty soon?
Eagle Scout.
So, Boy Scouts, congratulations. All right, I'm looking forward to seeing that day. Thanks.
It's an Eagle Scout, so.
Yes, and I see two of our, bunch of people from our environmental commission are here tonight, past and present environmental commission. I see Gary is here, Pete sitting next to him, that were very instrumental in the community garden, building a lot of it, putting a lot of stuff together, so thank you guys for that. And for those of you in the audience who have never been over there, I ask that you please go check it out. It's a great little garden, as you can see from the pictures. So thank you. Somewhere I got some glasses. There they are. Okay, with that, I need a motion for the approval of the minutes for the regular CAL and executive meeting of March 22nd, 2022. I think, Leo, you were absent, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Walker. Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
With that, we'll move right to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Our Unity for Ukraine donation drive is continuing. All residents are welcome to donate items listed on our social media platforms. There's a box located in City Hall, all to collect your donation items. Thank you to everyone that has already donated. It's been fantastic. We're making 1 or 2 trips a week with our tax collector, Lisa. to the church in Clifton with exorbitant amount of donations for the people of Ukraine. Our annual Easter egg hunt is scheduled for April 11th at Johnson Park on the turf field. Slam Dunk the Junk is scheduled for April 30th. Organizations that wish to participate must register, please. Hackensack Health Department is hosting a 6-week-long event, Hackensack Walks. Join Hackensack for a 6-week community weight loss challenge. Excuse me. The City of Hackensack will be hosting their 28th annual golf outing on June 16th. The PBA Hackensack will be hosting their first annual car show on May 22nd at Riverside Square Mall. The city shred event will be on Saturday, June 25th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you have any documents that you wish to be shredded, come down at that time and you'll be able to get it shredded for free. Hackensack outdoor dining tents and canopy requirements have been extended until November 2022. Please review the flyer that's posted on our social media with the requirements. Details of all our events and notices can be found at hackensack.org under the events or headlines tab on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram page. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Before I move on with new business, any of you, everybody's welcome to stay, by the way, but any of you who are just here for presentations or may want to leave, feel free at any time. Don't feel obligated because you came for the presentations that you have to stay for a whole council meeting, but that's up to you guys. So resolution 147-22.
This is a resolution for final adoption of ordinance number 15-2022, an ordinance to amend chapter 117 of the Code of the City of Hackensack Parks to allow the city manager to establish certain administrative rules for the use of city parks and lands. This ordinance has been advertised pursuant to law and now calls for a public hearing.
Need a motion to open to the public on this?
Offer.
Second. Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Anybody who'd like to speak to this ordinance in particular and only to this ordinance, please come forward. Seeing none, motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Second. Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Need a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Offer.
Second. Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Hackensack, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey, that ordinance number 15-2022 has passed its second and final reading and is hereby adopted.
Thank you. Resolution 148-22.
This is a resolution for final adoption of ordinance number 16-2022, an ordinance to amend chapter 170 of the Code of the City of Hackensack Vehicles and Traffic to update parking regulations on Linden Street between Clinton Place and Anderson Street. This ordinance has been advertised pursuant to law and now calls for a public hearing.
Need a motion to open to the public?
Offer.
Second. Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Anybody who'd like to speak to this ordinance and this ordinance only, please come forward. Seeing no members of the public. Oh, sorry. You can go right to the podium, sir.
I'm not familiar with all the particulars of this ordinance, but I do live in this particular area. I live on Anderson Street, okay? And recently, and I know that I've had some of my fellow neighbors that complained about or concerned about commuters parking and us being denied available parking space because of the commuters. As a result, you've issued some type of ordinance where we have 2-hour parking unless the person has a residence sticker. Okay. Now, I don't have a problem with that part. The problem I have is that why any resident living on Anderson Street or in that particular area if they have a driver's license, should they, if they, whether they have the, they should have the opportunity to purchase a sticker for any car that they are driving, in case they say they don't have a car and they want to rent a car. And if they park that car in the street, it's gonna be ticketed every, I mean, they can't leave it over 2 hours. It seems like it's just so much it's just not enough foresight on the planners of this ordinance to make allowances for residents that be able to purchase a sticker for themselves, even if they don't have a vehicle. In case, as long as they're licensed driver, they should be afforded the opportunity to have a sticker. If you can address that, I appreciate it.
It actually is a very valid point.
About the hanger.
I don't think we've come across that one before. We've used resident stickers throughout the city for.
Well, I've rented cars and I've gotten and I've gotten tickets,
Yeah,
you know, and I came down, I made complaints and
I'm going to,
it
ask the
needs to
city
be addressed.
manager to look into that, because it's really reason if somebody wants to rent a car,
It's only practical.
they may
I'm a licensed-
commute, but they
I've
are a
been
licensed
there.
driver, but they wanna rent a car for a week, they should be able to park their car. Right? Legal?
I mean, if you give it to me in my name, but if I'm driving something, I can put that sticker in the window, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I mean, there are temporary permits that, we could have a temporary permit program for people who, produce evidence that they had an accident, they're renting a car,
Well,
some reason.
there's people
Why
that
do
don't
you
even
have to have an
cars.
accident?
I'm just saying it's a hypothetical example.
Okay, well, this is another concern, okay? You have to have enough foresight to understand that. A temporary sticker is not what we're asking for. What I'm asking is that if a person's a licensed driver, they don't have a vehicle, that they be afforded a parking sticker that they can put on the vehicle that they're driving. It's simple as that. It's not complicated, it's real simple.
But
I live
there are other considerations though, because the sticker, somebody could actually take the sticker and give it to somebody else. The sticker could travel. Not saying that you would, sir. I'm just saying it's a possibility that the city has to be concerned about.
Listen, we could bring up all different types of hypotheticals, but let's just deal in this concern of the Hackensack residents. I've lived in Hackensack my whole life,
Mhm.
okay? There's no reason why I live in a house. And I pay property taxes, and I rent a car, because I don't have a vehicle for a weekend. And I park the car, and I get 2 tickets for parking 2 days, it's absurd. So when I come and I ask, can I purchase a sticker, and you tell me it's not, I can't purchase a sticker. There's no valid argument for that. I mean, you could say, well, hypothetically, well, what if he's gonna buy a sticker and give it to someone else? It doesn't matter, he's entitled to that sticker as a licensed driver.
No one I know, no towns I know that have parking permits afford a sticker to anything other than a vehicle that is registered. Some towns do have programs that allow you to come. If you're renting a car, you've got to apply, you've got to provide an explanation, you've got to provide the exact car make and number so that the sticker can't be transferred from vehicle to vehicle. That's, no town does what you're
Okay,
suggesting,
well,
sir.
I'm not speaking to me, I'm speaking with Hackensack because I live here, because I'm a property owner, because I've lived here my entire life, and I think it's only practical. If I live here, and I live in that house, and I have a license, and I'm not, and I need a car for a weekend, I don't have a car. If I rent a car, well, I shouldn't be able to purchase a sticker to put in that window.
You
So
would
I
purchase
don't
a
get a
temporary,
sticker.
it would be a temporary pass is what could be purchased if that was something the council wanted to consider.
You can make it temporary, as long as I can use it whenever I need to use it.
Sorry,
Let
I
us-
think we understand. Let us look into this.
Let us look into it, because it's new, it's not something we can change overnight, so we'd have to come up with,
Can you leave your contact information with the manager? Sir?
Listen, I've worked in politics for a long time. As you guys up there now, I've had elected positions. Presently, I'm the elected Democratic Committee representative for my area in Hackensack, which is the 3rd Ward, 4th District, which accounts for almost 1,200 Democratic voters in that area. Okay? And I'm speaking, so I know about that. Listen, it's simple as saying, make a sticker available so that they can purchase the sticker, and they can put it in the window, you let the police department know it's not, if this sticker's in the window, you don't take the car. It's not complicated, let's, kids, keep it simple.
it is more complicated than that, because I've sat in a scenario, you say foresight, so I'm using foresight. I've thought of scenarios while I'm sitting here for this short amount of time, where you could have a house, one car, with 5 people with driver's licenses that now have 5 parking permits. It creates an issue. Believe me, that there's an issue why the city attorney is saying no municipality issues them like that, they issue them through the car.
Well, let me address that question you just put forward.
Sure.
If there's a house in Hackensack, and there's 5 people in that house with driver's licenses,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and 3 of them have a vehicle or 2 have a vehicle and others do not. It doesn't mean that those other people that live there with a driver's license should be denied an opportunity that if they're driving a car, that they can purchase a sticker. I'm not saying you don't ticket that car. I'm saying that they should be able to purchase a sticker for that car.
It's something we have to look at and think about, but it won't be decided tonight. We have to talk to the city manager. He has to go through traffic and police to see, there's an ordinance in place, so. But I appreciate your comment, and some of it makes some sense to us, all right? Anyone else want to speak to this ordinance, and this ordinance only? Seeing no one from the public, motion to close.
Welcome.
Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Motion to adopt the ordinance.
Welcome.
Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Hackensack County of Bergen and State of New Jersey that ordinance number 16-2022 has passed its second and final reading and is hereby adopted.
Thank you. Resolution 149-22.
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 17-2022, an ordinance adopting second amendment to the record site redevelopment plan for the delineated redevelopment area consisting of block 300, lots 3.01, 3.02, 3.03, 3.04, and 3.05, formerly known as block 203.01, lots 2, 3, and 3.01, and block 300, lots 3.01 and 3.02.
Need a motion to introduce, please.
Offer.
Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Aye. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 17-2022 was introduced and is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on April 26, 2022, at 8:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 150-22.
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 18-2022, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and establish a cap bank, NJSA 48:4-4.14, calendar year 2022.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 18-2022 is introduced, is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on April 26, 2022, at 8:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 151-22.
This is a resolution for the introduction of ordinance number 19-2022, an ordinance to amend chapter 107 of the Code of the City of Hackensack Licenses and Permits with respect to certain fees for the use of city recreational fields and facilities.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 19-2022 is introduced, is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on April 26, 2022, at 8:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be giving an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk being and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 152-22.
This is a resolution authorizing cancellation of improvement authorization balances for the general capital fund.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 153-22.
Resolution authorizing calendar year 2022 budget to be read by title only.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 154-22.
This is a resolution authorizing governing body certification of compliance with the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's enforcement guidance on the consideration of arrest and conviction records and employment decisions under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 155-22.
This is a resolution authorizing reduction of the 2021 tax levy by tax appeal judgments.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 156-22.
This is a resolution authorizing 2022 temporary budget appropriations.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 157-22.
Resolution authorizing the 2022 municipal budget introduction, municipal budget of the city of Hackensack, County of Bergen for the fiscal year 2022.
Need a motion?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 158-22.
Resolution authorizing the global tax appeal settlement in the matter of 3 University Plaza SPE et al. Versus City of Hackensack.
Motion, please?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 159-22.
It's a resolution to adopt shared services agreement with the Township of Teaneck to provide fire dispatching services.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 161-22.
No, 160, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry, 160.
I'd like to go faster too. This is a resolution authorizing introduction of Main Street Business Alliance, Inc.'s 2022 budget.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 161-22.
A resolution authorizing tax refund for state board judgments and paid in error.
Need a motion, please?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 162-22.
This is a resolution authorizing the settlement of litigation entitled Rochelle Thompson and David Thompson versus Sequenza et al., pending in the Superior Court of New Jersey, Bergen County, docket number BERL 1904-19.
Motion, please?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 163-22.
This is a resolution authorizing the payment of bills.
Motion to pay the bills?
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
I abstain. Anybody have any conflicts with the consent agenda? Which one?
Resolution, the last two.
The last two.
Resolution 180.
So they will be pulled and read separately. Anybody else have a conflict? Seeing none, continue, please.
Okay. The following items are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted in one motion. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by certification of availability of funds. Any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda, and consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes, including any exceptions and/or additions. The consent agenda consists of Resolution 164-22 through 179-22, with 180 and 181 being pulled. Resolution 164-22 is a resolution authorizing raffle licenses for Holy Trinity Roman Catholic Church. Resolution 165-22, resolution supporting the 2022 You Drive, You Text, You Pay distracted driving crackdown from April 1st through April 30th of 2022. Resolution 166-22 is a resolution authorizing approval to submit a grant application and execute a grant contract with New Jersey Department of Transportation for the Prospect Avenue Pedestrian Safety Project. Resolution 167-22 is a resolution approving the memorandum of understanding between the City of Hackensack and the UPSEU, the Hackensack White Collar Employees. Resolution 168-22 is a resolution authorizing award of contract to Suburban Engineering for Fire Headquarters Remediation Design, Bid Services, and Construction Management. Resolution 169-22 is a resolution awarding change order number 3 to New Prince Construction for Clay Street Combined Sewer Separation Contract 1. Resolution 170-22 is a resolution authorizing award of contract for engineering services to Neglia Engineering for 2022 solid waste disposal bid assistance. Resolution 171-22 is a resolution consenting to partial assignment of redevelopment agreement from RFEA Urban Renewal LLC to RFEH Retail Urban Renewal LLC Record Site Phase 2. Resolution 172-22 is a resolution consenting the partial assignment of financial agreement from RFEHA Urban Renewal LLC to RFEH Retail Urban Renewal LLC Record Site Phase 2. Resolution 173-22 is a resolution consenting to assignment of financial agreement from 22 Sussex Street Urban Renewal LLC to LRC3 Urban Renewal LLC, which was 20 Sussex Street. Resolution 174-22 is a resolution authorizing and requesting the planning board undertake a preliminary redevelopment investigation to determine whether the delineated area of block 206.02, lots 24, 25, 26, and 26.01, which is 116-130 Main Street and 111 Moore Street, satisfies the criteria for designation as an area in need of redevelopment for non-condemnation purposes. Resolution 175-22 is a resolution extending designation of Hackensack Main Associates LLC as redeveloper of Block 315, lots 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 21, 24, 25, 26, 28.01, I'm sorry, I left out 27, 28.02, 29.01, 30.01, 30.02, 31, and 34 within the Block 315 redevelopment area. Resolution 176-22 is a resolution authorizing endorsement of proposed Bergen County Community Development Grants for 2022. Resolution 177-22 is a resolution authorizing temporary extension to city park closing hours from May 31st, 2022 through October 1st, 2022. Resolution 178-22 is a resolution authorizing the settlement of litigation entitled Cole et al. Versus City of Hackensack et al. Pending in the United States District Court for the District of New Jersey Civil Action number 2:19-CV-12241 JMVMF. Resolution 179-22 is a resolution authorizing the settlement of workers' compensation matter filed by Leroy Montgomery Jr. pending in the New Jersey Division of Workers' Compensation, case number 2018-3006.
Okay. Need a motion to adopt the consent agenda as it was just read.
Offer.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 180-22.
This is a resolution authorizing municipal support for MB1 to receive a Class 1 cannabis cultivator license from the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission to operate within the city of Hackensack.
Need a motion, please.
Before we do that, I just want to note for the record that we did make one change to the resolution as it originally appeared. We did add a sentence making clear that the resolution of municipal support that we are issuing is non-transferable to any other entity other than the ones that are being issued resolutions of support, because we're relying upon the representations of these folks as to their business. So it just, for safety's sake, we thought that would be an appropriate addition. So I just want to make that clear.
Thank you. Any motion?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 181-22.
This is a resolution authorizing municipal support for Violet Genetics to receive a Class 1 cannabis cultivator license from the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission to operate within the city of Hackensack.
Need a motion, please?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
No.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay. That's that. Thank you, Deb. A lot of stuff to read. With that, I need a motion to open for public, please. Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Anybody from the public who would like to speak, please come forward. You'll have 3 minutes. Please give your name to the clerk and whether you are a Hackensack resident.
Good evening, my name is Reverend Carolyn Davis, I'm a Hackensack resident. I'm also the president of the work group. Mayor, many years ago, when you and the council were elected, and I've heard many times at council meetings, how you feel that we are more, harder with you than the last council that was elected. Well, part of that is because of the bar that you raised yourself. When you came in office, you said you were gonna do much better than the last council did. You were gonna meet the needs of the community. The problem we have found is that we have never had a meeting with the community. This is not a place where we can have a discussion. And if you were meeting with the community, who have met with us, and you found out the things that concerned us, you have gone ahead with your own plans. And I'm not saying all your plans are bad. What I'm saying is there are many plans that were more important to us as a community that you have not met. Main Street may look good, but most of us will not live down there, and I'll still go out to the malls to shop. What's important to most of us in the community is where we live. What's happening with the development that's going on. And those are, in the fourth ward are affected immensely by this. And whether you call it that or not, it is redlining. When a certain amount of the community has most of the development happening around their neighborhoods, we're wondering about traffic. People can't afford to live there. People will be moving out. That is redlining. If you've never read the book by P.E. Moskowitz, How to Destroy a City, this is exactly what's going on in our community. What we're asking right now is for an IZO. Again, we'll continue asking. An IGO that is inclusionary, 20% in any development that is coming in Hackensack. If you're going to develop, the developers aren't giving us anything anyhow. And I remember once, Deputy Mayor Canestrino, you said we could talk to them. I'd like to know the names of the developers, because I certainly would talk to them and let them know what we as a community are looking for, since you feel that you can't talk to them. So give us their names when they want to develop something, and we'll sit down and talk with them about the things that we think we need. You wanted to prove that you were the best, so here's how you can prove that you're the best. Be the first urban community in New Jersey to adopt a 20% wide IGO ordinance with no buyouts and a first preference for Hackensack residents. Developers are getting the breaks. If they want to develop here, we want this IGO. You did not do the minimum. You did the minimum for us, but you did the maximum for developers. We want the maximum now. If you haven't already, we expect it's done. We'll be back until it is done. Again, if you haven't read the book, and somebody asked me from your administration, why should I care? Because I have a home. It won't affect me, the apartments. Why should I care? Because one day my house might let me buy $20,000. Because the God that I serve tells me that I should care for my neighbor. I am my neighbor's keeper. That's why I care.
Thank you, Mr.
My name is
Hackensack resident, stakeholder, taxpayer. I was here last city council meeting, and I asked Deputy Mayor, once again, you said you want to meet the needs of the community. John jumped in and said this was a setup because I asked about an ICO. Yes or no? You said, John, oh, you'll take it back to the community. Well, here's the community.
No.
They were watching,
What?
as I said. They're watching. So now, once again, we need an IZO, 20% affordable housing in all developments that are coming forth, and with that IZO, residential preference to the Hackensack residents here. And you are no longer under that compliance with fair share housing. And fair share housing stands with the community at 20%. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Randy Glover, Hackensack. I really just have a simple question. Exactly what is the IZO and why aren't you working to pass one? That's my question.
I will answer it when all the speakers are done, or we will answer it. Next person, please.
Good evening, my name is Gordon Bird, I'm a resident of Hackensack, New Jersey. I just have some concerns and some questions. As a lifelong resident of Hackensack, I noticed that there are a lot of changes. And so as a child, I remember the Fox Theater on Main Street along with Ortani, so many other activities, PAL, the YWCA, all of those organizations that were visible are no longer here. So my concern is, while we are building all of these apartment buildings all over Hackensack, to assume that these people will not have children does not make a great deal of sense. They are not coming here without children, and if they do, trust me, in their private time, there will be some children. Since our school system is not large enough to actually provide for all of the apartment buildings that are going up. The other thing that's a major concern is our youth. What are we doing for them? There is nothing in the city of Hackensack that provides opportunities for our kids. The Y is gone. Why should they have to go to Bergenfield or any place else? We talk about give them something to do, make the streets safe. But if you don't give them something to do, the streets will. And so the reality is, at some point, our concern needs to be towards our youth. These developers are making a whole lot of money, but I don't see what they're doing for Hackensack. I don't see what they're giving back to us and all of this building that they're doing. There's an opportunity for them to make a difference. Build a youth center. Build something else for the kids to be able to do. Build another movie theater for that matter. But there's something else that they can do that is not yet being done. And so it's just disheartening because nobody's ever rang. I get a doorbell ring when everybody's running for office, and I get flyers and we ring it. Nobody rang my doorbell to find out what the kids in our community need. And that's something that we need to do. We do a lot of talking and saying we're going to have these community meetings, and it's like putting a Band-Aid on a wound. It's going to fall off eventually, and it's still going to be a wound. And so my concern is, what are we going to do? We talk about making Hackensack better. We are not Hoboken. We are not all of those other places that we're now trying to look like. And all that stuff that's on Main Street, who's utilizing it? And does it meet our needs? Is it the kind of things that we need on Main Street, or is it just somebody paying rent until they can't pay it anymore? My concern is, what are we going to do about Hackensack's needs? Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move forward, usually I was going to let everybody go through, but I need to speak to that and put some of the things that were directed in particular. So you saw tonight on the docket, flood control going on Clay Street, $40 million. $40 million plus dollars, because your houses are flooding, we understand that. Who's paying for it? You are? No. But if it wasn't, let me put it this way. If the development we have so far wasn't happening and what's to come wasn't going to happen, there would be no flooding being fixed, all right? Unless you raise taxes tremendously, $40, $50 million, even if you bond it out, would be a tremendous amount of time. Excuse me, no comments while I'm talking, please. I'm not talking, interrupting you. Please don't interrupt me. And I'm glad you find it funny, all right? Because I spent a lot of time in this city with the youth of the city, and to be insulted to say we're not doing anything for the children in this city is just mind-boggling to me. You have new parks going up. Fashini's getting redone. Johnson Park's getting redone. Columbus Park's getting redone. Carver Park's getting redone. New water facilities for the kids, right? Who's paying for that? Not just your taxes, the taxes from a lot of these buildings that they're paying, all right? And you could say it doesn't happen all you want, but have your taxes gone up?
Yeah.
The tax levy has gone down 3 years in a row. All right? 3 years in a row. And if you want to check if your taxes went up, check with the county and check the schools, because it wasn't because of the city of Hackensack unless you did work on your house. So, but to sit here and say we have done nothing for the citizens of Hackensack at all is just a total insult. So next person, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Wilson. I just recently moved to Hackensack last year. I've been renting. So let's start a little game. It's called Guess the Price of the Apartment. Okay? 22 Sussex Street. Studio. How much? $19.78 a month. Next. The Current on River, 18 East Camden. 1 bedroom. $2,400 to $2,500 a month. Jefferson, 2 Kindermack Road, 1 to 2 bedroom, $2,240 to $4,180 a month. All right, what do you guys think of those prices?
I'm going to ask you, give me some prices on some other buildings that aren't ones that just recently built, where there's also apartments available, 1 and 2 bedroom.
Right?
No, I'm talking about luxury apartments, not luxury condominiums.
Right.
That's what they call it.
Condominiums, same thing. How do we afford rent? As somebody who's from the younger generation, if we're making minimum wage, we can't pay these rents. These are absurd. You're telling us that we have to spend 75% of our income paying for this stupid freaking landlord just for them to pay off their own mortgage and then make money on top of that? How is that right? In 30 years, if I've rented for 30 years, I've just been paying our mortgage, I've just been paying the landlord. What do I have to show for it? I get no house. I basically starve. Student loans are high. I can't afford anything. I spent all of my money pre-tax on these apartments. And you guys say that Hackensack is on the up and up. Right now, I'm living in a place that rent just keeps going up every year. I've seen it. You know, how am I supposed to live? How do you expect us poorer people to survive in this town?
So what is your solution for these buildings? What is your solution that they cut their rents basically in half? How do you make it cheaper? How do you make it cheaper?
So why are you caring about the profit of these companies? Why are these
I'm not. I'm
private-
considered about the citizens of Hackensack, and that's why we're doing
This
this.
is not, you're trying to bring people in, you're not keeping people, you're bringing in people from Hoboken and Jersey City and New York City.
This plan has been in effect since 2008, it started. All right, this plan, the rehabilitation plan for the city of Hackensack. All right.
Let the mayor finish.
I'm breaking my own rules by going back and forth, so when you're done, you let me know.
Alright, well, again, I got 30 seconds, but I just want you to take that into consideration. For the people who are on the poorer end, on the poverty scale, please address something about these absurd rent prices, because it's mind-boggling how crazy it is, how everything in Hackensack is going up. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, please.
My name is Mary Collins, and I'm a resident of Hackensack. There's this gentleman said you asked him.
Sure, you can take your mask down.
As the gentleman just said, or you said to the gentleman, what do you want us to do? Here's what you can do. I understand there's rent stabilization in Hackensack, but that rent stabilization only applies to buildings that are either 1988 or prior to 1988. Is that correct?
Well, it's actually a 30-year process.
Okay, so these new buildings, these new apartments do not have any rent stabilization. Is that correct?
Not for 30 years. It's a state.
That is a state law,
State-
that
it's
has
a
nothing
state-
to do with
state
the
law,
city
we
of
can't control
Hackensack,
it.
by the way.
So I can't tell a developer he has to meet rent control standards before somebody in another town doesn't have to.
So my question to you also is, I was in California last year, and California has a serious problem with homelessness because, as this gentleman says, when people can't afford things, okay, they start living out on the street. Or when they can't afford things, they start bringing in other people to their units. Okay, my cousin told me that where she lived in an apartment, there were 14 people in a one-bedroom apartment. That was in California. I have a friend that lives on Clarendon in an apartment building there. She said there's 6 adults and 1 studio with about 3 children that live next to her. She has complained that it is overcrowded in there, and the management of that company has done nothing because those people pay the rent, so they don't care. So you tell me, City of Hackensack, how are you going to deal with situations like that? Do you have enough people out at the building department to go in and see if the occupancy is over, if it's over occupied? On how many apartments are we putting up now? Do you have that capability? Are you also going to increase the police department so that when it starts to get crime around here, because remember, apartment buildings bring transients.
That's right.
Houses bring people that want to stay and invest in this. Not one house or condo or townhouse go up in this city, other than the one on Berry Street. They put up a house there. How many houses, tell me, have gone up within this period with all these apartment buildings? How many houses?
In the
Or
rehab zone,
townhouses,
none,
or
because
condos?
it's, the rehab zone consists of 165 acres of Main Street downtown. So there's none there, obviously. There's none on the county DPW site where the Jefferson is. So, but there are houses that have gone up to town, but we're a city, there is not a lot of open space here. The only area, the city owns what property?
The city owns property that can be redeveloped. Aren't you redeveloping property that you own, that you were talking about putting this housing development for the affordable housing?
There's a couple areas in town we were talking about putting up some,
Right.
yes, absolutely.
You own that property, correct? Correct.
That is city property, correct.
Yes.
And we were told we shouldn't put affordable housing there.
By who? By the railroad, right?
By the
railroad, John.
By the railroad.
Chosen by who?
Yes,
There's
you
affordable
told us
housing
that
all over near railroads. That's where they want affordable housing, actually, ask you to put it. Next person, please.
Tell your grandchildren to go to the railroad in 19.
All right, guys, let's come down.
Hello. I think it was perfect that the woman before me and the gentleman before that mentioned about rent increases and you brought up rent stabilization. I think that was an amazing point because I am the chairwoman of the Rent Stabilization Board, and I've been here for a number of years trying to get an ordinance passed where we will be able to help and assist more people in their rent stabilization issues. But I've been pressing and contacting everyone on that board before the election and times before that, even the attorney. You asked for my information, you said you would read it, look out for it, and things of that nature, and nothing has been kind of like concluded, and that was in 2018 or 19, where we just asked for an extension where the Hackensack City ordinance can match the state ordinance where we can assist more people with rent stabilization. So I think that was an amazing answer for you to say, oh, rent stabilization is a great idea, and I think it's something that we can offer people, and it's a great avenue that the city of Hackensack is looking forward to. But if you're not willing to assist the Rent Stabilization Board that's here, when we're trying to assist the people of Hackensack, I think that's kind of like counterintuitive. Also, I'd like to say, thank you for giving us this opportunity. But I'd also like to say, I know you mentioned that this was a part of the plan that you said in 2009, and there are parks that, there are plans to be constructed and plans for this park to be increased in space and greenery and dog parks and all the things that you are mentioning that you would like to instill. But these aren't things or topics that we're getting word of. We hear faster that the YMCA is closing and that there's no place for the children of Hackensack before we hear or see these construction ideas and projects done to the parks and the cities around us. So I think if anything, it shouldn't be taken as a slight or disrespect when people are asking, what type of things are you doing for the people or the children? It's not disrespectful, but the things that we're hearing about what's already being done, like the YMCA closing, that's faster news than what's actually being done. So I think if we can get more transparency on the processes or the completion dates or things like that, that would be a little bit more transparent. But that's for construction and project, processes. But as far as the rent stabilization board, I think would be ultimately helpful if we can get a resolution on that ordinance change that I proposed in 2018 that I still haven't heard from. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, Ani Post, Hackensack resident. So I just want to say I feel like there's a big communication gap between the council and the people of Hackensack. And the work group meets every other Thursday, and we have a very informal forum where we invite the council, we invite anybody who is an administrator in the community. Albert Dibb came to one of our meetings. It was very enlightening for everyone. So I really do think it's important to have some sort of forum where we can all come together, discuss what's going on, what our feelings are as patrons, as Hackensack community, and what you guys are probably not seeing or realizing things that are happening. As far as the schools are concerned, we don't have more taxes for school. You've started the pilot programs, but they contribute nothing to the school system. And the problem is we do need another school. I think we can all here admit that we need another school. That there will be no children living in these buildings or a minimum number. They said that about Prospect Avenue as well. When those buildings were going up, some studies were done, just like studies were done for now. And all my kids' friends lived on Prospect Avenue in all those buildings. They had a ton of friends there. So what I'm saying is we really need to have a one-on-one or a more casual forum where we don't have 3 minutes on the clock and we can have an exchange and talk and communicate ideas. So I hope we can do that, and I hope that we see some of you at our next work group meeting. That would be great.
First of all, I'd like to say, introduce myself to Edward Donald Rice, lifelong resident of Hackensack. I've lived in Hackensack for 69 years. Okay?
Well, good for your age.
Thank you. Okay. Always, and usually, the citizens of Hackensack have trust in the city council to do what's best for the city of Hackensack. The reason there's so many people here and so many people speaking up is because we've lost that trust. We're giving you an opportunity to get that trust back. Okay? But you have to listen to us to do it. And not just listen, you have to make moves that's going to benefit the citizens of Hackensack, the ones that are living here, the ones that have been living here. I mean, some type of stabilization with people that are renting in the apartments that are there now, just like this kid that spoke earlier. I mean, those prices are absurd. Okay? And they're even more absurd when you don't make allowances for moderate and middle income housing units set aside in those buildings. Okay, it makes no sense to us. Now, I'm willing to work with anybody and everybody up there. If you can't find a solution, trust me, I've lived in that, I've worked for the county, I've worked for the city, I've worked for the state. I'll help you find a solution. It's not that difficult. But sometimes you have to listen to the people. And sometimes before making a decision, you gotta put feelers out there and find out where the people are coming from. We haven't even gotten to the issue that I really wanted to speak on. Okay, but I'll get to that, but, I think that's for another time. You guys have had enough stuff thrown at you today, okay? But let's get together with the committee, let's set up like some type of board or something where we can work on solutions, where we can put something together to make everybody happy. Because listen, man, we voted you guys in there. Out of all confidence. You're losing that. You got one way to get it back, and that's to work with us. You don't have to go, listen, right here, I have 1,100 voters in my district, in my ward, okay? That I'm a committee member for. True, they're all Democrats, but they all live in my district, okay? And I have the name, address, phone number. It's easy for me to get on the phone and start harping. Listen, you guys want to be here? Do something for us. Make Hackensack the city. We're not even the city that we were. Every year, for the ones that have been here for an extended amount of time, we see it deteriorating in one way or another. We're losing something. But we shouldn't have to always lose something. Give us something so we can say we gained something. Listen, if you want merchants to benefit in Hackensack, if you want people in all those municipal buildings, if you want to make it so that people want to set up small businesses and make money, install a little light rail system that just runs from freaking, to run up and down, so the people that live there will be convenient for them to shop there. They don't have to get out involved in traffic. They can go take a little light rail system that might run from freaking River Edge to Littleburg, that they can shop in the area. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do. I mean, nothing's cheap, it's not cheap and expensive, but if all these units come in, somebody got to help contribute to it. This is what we need. Okay, and I'm going to stop there because I don't want to keep going because people got to go home. All right? And like I said, man, I love to be up here when the next election comes and say, you guys work with us, I want you guys back, but work with us, man. Don't fight with us. We can all look for excuses to make things, to try to make what we've been doing right. Okay, but we're not looking for excuses. We're looking for results. All right?
Thank you, sir.
My name is Sidi Katishi. As you can hear from my accent, I was born somewhere in Africa. I moved to Hackensack about 20 years ago when my first daughter was 3 months old. It is because I wanted a good quality of life, not quantity. My daughter is a graduate student now. The second one is in third year at Boston University. They all went through Hackensack school system. My daughter, they sent me here tonight because they don't like what is happening in Hackensack. My oldest daughter wants to move back and live here, but she couldn't afford those apartments. They don't like what they are seeing in downtown. It's up to downtown, or whatever the slogan you use. 8 o'clock, that downtown is like a ghost town.
That's right.
I'm talking about young adults. If their friends come over, there's nothing for them to do here. The only thing I go to Main Street to do is my nails. I go to Tinex. I don't have to put money in parking meter to do shopping in Tinex. I go to Maywood. You said you are going to expand the sidewalk so that people can see it during summer and everything. There's no expansion. Have you been to West Passage Street in Maywood? Where? Go to Inglewood, Tinex, Cedar Lane and Tinex Road. We go to these places. My daughter is already in New York City. If she would rather go there than stay here. She wants to live in Hackensack, but she cannot afford it. I have 2 boys in Hackensack High School currently. They are complaining about congestion. During summer, it's extremely hot. During winter, it's extremely cold. One of them is in a band. He is telling me that nobody is sponsoring the band. They don't give money to the band. Because they don't consider band as anything. No child wants to join. We have to, the band manager or the band director has to start begging students to join the band. Because nobody is sponsoring them. What is happening? All this money that you are taking from the developer or whatever tax rate you gave them, do something about Hackensack school system. need renovation and we need more schools. Please, thank you.
Thank you.
By the way,
Yes, ma'am.
we always vote you guys in, especially the African community. There is an African store on Adamsey Street. The lady has 2 stores. She had to give up one because she couldn't afford it. Now we're going to remove Walgreens. My husband takes his medication from Walgreens. Donkey Donuts. Everything in that area to build another apartment. Why? And that lady is ready to move. She moved one store to Tina. She's going to move the second one. Leave Anderson Avenue the way it is. Please, thank you.
Blanche Stewart, Hackensack. 18 buildings and counting. We've heard that you've met your fair share housing. 18 buildings and counting. None of our children coming back from school can afford to live here, paying $2,000 for a studio. And Mr. LaBrose, I listened to you on a Zoom meeting with the mayor of Inglewood, where you stated that the school population is decreasing and you don't anticipate that there'll be more children in the school district because you've made sure, because you haven't allowed anybody to build more than a 2-bedroom apartment. So that actually, and I believe you understand when you said that, okay? Hackensack, the diversity of it was a strength. The fact that we were a city with a small town feel was a strength. When you're moving all of these people in from New York and whatever, the people who lived here for all of those years are being pushed out. Our kids can't come back from school to live here. They can't afford it. So please, you've met your fair share, but it's not fair to the residents of Hackensack. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. My name is Reverend Joanne Pearson Collins. I pastor people that live in Hackensack. I only stood up here to make a suggestion to all of you. I've heard everything that the people have said. We know the majority of the black people in Hackensack live High Street, Clay Street, in that area. You're getting ready to tear down. You have allowed this to happen. Because every building that is built because it has been approved by the city council. You're going to now allow a section of the town where people, let me say this first. I moved to Hackensack in 1976. And everything that Reverend Winnie Burke said about the movie theaters, all of that was there when I came to Hackensack. But now those entertainment issues are no longer here. So what I'm saying is we're getting ready to allow an apartment building, a huge one, to take up the laundromat that our people use, the drugstore that our people go to, the Dunkin' Donuts that our people go to. All of the things that you're getting ready to do is going to affect us, not you. So what I'm saying to you is that when you wanted all the you didn't come with your neckties on. You didn't come with your suits on. You went to Mount Olive to the community center. You went to different places and you came as a relaxed people, introducing your slate, asking for our vote. Now I'm asking you as a pastor of this city of people to come again to the table, not with your neckties on and your suits and look pious, but come and be humble. Because at the end of the day, when all of you go home, we still have to live where you're doing absolutely nothing, even though you say you do. I believe you're trying your best. But how can you do for us if you don't talk to us?
Amen.
So that's all I want to say. Because I pastor a lot of senior people, and there is no senior housing now in Hackensack. If you go on the senior housing list, you have to wait 5 years, if not more, to get a senior apartment. And you cannot say that because you're building 2-bedroom apartments, that you're not gonna have 3 or 4 children running around in those 2-bedroom apartments. Because we can't assume what people are not going to have. God bless you.
Good evening, Timothy Hoffman, Hackensack. There's a lot of people here talking about Hackensack and what our true character is. And as a city, it's important that our city council really reflects what our community is wanting and hoping for. We know that redevelopment in communities can be a good thing, but it can also trigger affordability crises. And that seems to be a lot of the problem that so many people in Hackensack are talking about right now and experiencing day to day. Our current city council, 4 out of 5 members live in one ward. I talk to a lot of people across the city who, when we hear about, oh, taxes are being cut, I don't hear that being reflected in people's actual payments that people are making. It was the game of trying to figure out how much apartments cost in the city. It's true that the rates are going up to staggering amounts. Beautiful buildings, great amenities, pools, doormen, great abilities for people to really enjoy these spaces. But I would like to know, just, and the city should have these records, what is the average salary that's expected for people to live inside of these units? Anybody knows that there's a lot of money that needs to be earned in order to live in these units that we have.
45,000.
What is the number?
45,000.
A year?
Yeah.
That's
the low end.
No, that's low.
That's low.
It's gotta be over 70.
Yeah.
75.
And
Mrs. Dawson, speak, please.
It's just interesting to see who can actually afford the units that we're currently constructing in Hackensack, because a lot of the residents are being left behind. It is very difficult to say, okay, let's have a pool, have a beautiful apartment complex, but the people who are already in Hackensack can't access these great resources. It's just very unfortunate, and it's something that really needs to be considered. We need to listen to the community. It seems like we're losing a lot. While some people, maybe who've never stepped foot in Hackensack before, are going to gain a lot. And that's a major concern for people who have lived in Hackensack for decades or generations. A lot of people here, myself included, are generations and generations and generations in Hackensack. We need to make sure that can continue. Right now, I mean, I can't afford a house in Hackensack. I'm doing okay for myself, I think. But affording a house in Hackensack or affording one of these great new buildings that are coming in, it's not possible. A lot of people that graduated in only 2012 can't afford to stay in Hackensack or certainly to be able to live in one of these new buildings. And it's, what do we want Hackensack to be? Is it just, oh, okay, let's bring in people from New York City and Hoboken who just want to move, still have some of that life, but not necessarily here? But what are we going to be? And let's listen to the residents of Hackensack to understand truly what we want our community to look like, not just build something in hopes the new people come and see what happens. Thank
you. Sir?
Good evening, council. My name is DJ Singer. I'm a new resident of Hackensack. My wife and I moved here last year, and we currently reside in one of your new buildings, 240 Main Street, known as Metro, or Meridian Main, I'm sorry, above the Caps Diner, or what is now known as Caps on Main. We moved here hoping to, start a family. We have a business collectively. We make over six figures pre-tax. But we pay $22.45 right now, and that has gone up to $26.05. And I'm going to read something from state legislature here just real quick. It says, the increase in rent must not be unconscionable. It must not be so unreasonable as to shock the conscience of a fair and honest person, and must comply with any municipal ordinances governing rent increase. Now, I don't know about you, but a 16% rent increase was shocking to me. And so I just want to know if it's shocking to you as well, because otherwise we'll probably be moving out of Hackensack. with our 6 figures.
Sir?
My name's Fred Miller. You're hearing me tonight, and to me, a successful economic development strategy must focus on improving skills of the area's workforce, reduce the cost of doing business, and make available the resources businesses need to compete and thrive in today's economy. I mean, looking at the new developments on Main Street, and it's great, new and vibrant, and Cat Diner, and rents are so high. I love my $20 cheesesteak. These new developments have costs, high rents for businesses, and that gets passed to us. We already pay high taxes, whether it's federal, state, Hackensack, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same. At the end of the day, I think that you're selling the town down the river. There's no reason why development can't have any sort of ownership stake. The American dream is owning something, and nobody's going to be able to own anything in these buildings. And it's obvious the developers seem to own you guys. The sad thing is the development going on Anderson Street, we wouldn't have to have needless conversations about parking permits if we didn't have 1,000 units being shoved down our throat. And if we had more investment in businesses that created jobs and well-paying jobs and minimum wage jobs that are now $15 an hour, perhaps people would be more able to afford stuff, but I doubt anyone building these apartments is actually living in them. And I do want to say, I believe this actually said no to one of the weed stores. So thank you for that, because I think we could use more jobs instead of more smokes. So thank you for hearing me out.
Sir?
You know me, John. Victor, Hackensack resident. Here we go. Citizen Son came out, John and Kathy. On numerous occasions, when we asked you about the development that was going on in Hackensack, you stated, Kathy, that we gave some of the developers pilot programs to entice them to come to Hackensack. You gave it to 18, Kathy. 18. 30 years. Pilot program. So that's not enough enticement? You gave it to everyone. So you lied. You lied to the citizens of Hackensack. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And John, your statement, we don't want more than 2 bedrooms because we want to keep the population down in the schools. Ain't nobody paying this amount of rent, and you want to tell them they can't have no children? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So that ain't true either. When I sat up here and I asked you to go to the developers and talk about what can they do for the community, you told me to go ask them. You told me to go ask them? I don't sit up on the city council, you do. You're the one giving up the 30-year tax rate. You gotta understand, that tax rate is over a 30-year span. So you're not getting the money up front. So what do you want to do, Kathy and John, now? So the cat is out the bag. We see who you are. So what's going to be the solution? Hey, Albert, let me ask you a question while you're sitting over in the corner. Are these buildings developers?
He's not on the city council, you're here to address this.
But he answered a lot of questions.
That's because we asked him to, because he's an
Well, you
important.
didn't ask him this question. You didn't ask him this question.
You can ask him the question afterwards, but not.
I'm asking right here where everybody can hear.
No, you're not.
Are these two, I'm asking you and Kathy, are these new developments, are they going to have affordable housing? Are you going to give them a 30-year pilot program? That's a yes and no question. Are you going to give them a pilot program?
Which one?
Any of them.
123
Walgreens
Anderson Street.
And are we?
1, 2, 3, and
When you're done with your 3 minutes, she'll answer that question.
You can't answer now.
no.
I don't wanna go back and forth.
We're not gonna go back.
Take
I
your
was
time.
waiting for your answer.
Because your time's gonna be up, and she might be in the middle of talking.
No, I'm not finished. I'm just starting, Captain. I'm not finished. I'm just starting on you.
Good gentlemen. Authoritative applause.
Thank you.
Next, please. I wonder why there's no respect.
Because you don't have no damn respect.
No, that's not true. I treat everybody with
Oh,
respect.
please. You ain't treating the residents with respect.
Good evening, Deborah Keeling-Geddes. We know that the city is only responsible for an additional 60 apartment units to fulfill their affordable housing obligation. That is the minimum amount that is needed. The developers and business owners are not saying that more affordable units cannot exist, but you, and only you, and members of your administration are saying it and are against a citywide IZO. We will have upwards of 5,000 new apartments in Hackensack and 60 more units, 60 more affordable units is a mere pittance and does not meet the needs of our community. Hackensack is one of the 3 most diverse communities in Bergen County, along with Teaneck and Inglewood. And contrary to what some people assume, all people of all colors need affordable housing. And contrary to what some people assume, it is not only for low income, but also moderate incomes of up to $58,000 for one person in Bergen County. That is a new fireman, a new police officer, a new school teacher, a college graduate with a starting salary. That is also my son, your sons and daughters, your grandchildren. We don't want a separate building designated as the affordable housing building.
Amen.
We don't want an affordable housing building on Railroad Place, a mile away from the train stations, and at a location where a child was killed by the train. Where will children play in that small area? Having a separate affordable housing building was acceptable in the 1950s, the 1960s. But here in Bergen County, in 2022, it is discriminatory. We want inclusionary housing within the new luxury buildings. We need a citywide IZO. Hackensack is the county seat of Bergen County. Set the example for the rest of Bergen County. Don't let this issue taint your legacy. Adopt a citywide IZO with preferential residency. Now, as for 123 Anderson Street, why not a supermarket there? Why another apartment building? We don't need this. That area, if you know that area, it gets crazy with traffic. But we would tolerate the traffic if we had a service there, like a supermarket, where we have to go 2 miles in each direction or more to get food. How about thinking like that instead of just saying a building, a building, a building? One more thing, in 2009, on Main Street, in the master plan, was affordable housing in that?
Yep. Sure enough.
You
Downtown.
in the 2009 master plan for Main Street was affordable housing
It
in
was
it.
co-ed and it wasn't fair share housing.
Okay,
It was
was it? But that
co-ed.
was considered
Yeah,
affordable
but
housing.
then Christie came in and swapped sold.
Okay, but it was in the master plan.
Yes, it was.
I think it was. I had to go back and look. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I got the paper.
How are you, Kasim James, Hackensack resident? Good to see everyone. It's been a long time to in this room. I wasn't planning on speaking, but to be honest with you, sitting and looking at the dais and watching person after person after person get up,
it's disheartening. It's disheartening that what I'm looking at so differently resembles the audience that's here, the people that are here asking for just some basic things. There's a tone that seems defensive. I understand people are coming up asking for things. But what are those things that they're asking for? 20% affordable housing in all of these luxury apartments. They're asking for where they get their medicine to not be taken away. They're asking for their schools to be properly funded as Hackensack grows, that there's also money allocated to grow the school system. And it's not enough to say that's the school's problem, because the reality is everyone on this dais has an opinion, a vocal opinion, on the school system, advocating for certain school board members, advocating for certain expansion, advocating for whether or not pilot money goes to the schools. And so to say, don't look at me, that's not my problem, is really disingenuous. And so I'm finding it odd that we're trying to attract people to Hackensack. And you have people that are here asking for relief, trying to let you know their experience as new residents. And the answer is, you want to be mayor? You solve the problem for me. I have no interest in your increased rent. You try and solve the problem for me. People that we're trying to attract to Hackensack. So as we continue to grow, as we continue to expand, I just hope that we have more conversations, as Andy said, because I'm telling you, there are people that have more than 3 minutes. Brian Keemian has more than 3 minutes with you. Sanzari has more than 3 minutes with you. There are people that have more than 3 minutes with you. And we have the feelings too. We have things that we would like to see to grow and improve the city. Everyone wants to improve the city. There are just different ways to do it. I don't think that anyone here wants Hackensack to fail. But a meaningful dialogue is a good way to go about it, because there's an uptown, downtown sort of issue right now where people are able to designate where some people live as areas in need of rehabilitation, areas in need of revitalization. And there's really no concern for the ways in which these projects are impacting actual people's lives. And so I'm just asking that you consider those things moving forward and perhaps have a forum where there can be a free-flowing conversation. Thank you.
Any other members of the public? Motion to close to the public.
Walker.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino. Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll. Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Oh, Nance? Yes, we do have, this is Nancy Holmes. Nancy Holmes is our affordable housing attorney. She's just gonna go over a few things with you to make sure everybody's aware of what's going on with affordable housing in Hackensack right now, and then the council will be questioned.
Good evening, everyone. I'm in the city's Affordable Housing Council. My name is Nancy Holm. I recognize many of you from the court hearing the other day, and many of you didn't have your cameras on in the Zoom, but I recognize your voices, and I again thank you for your participation tonight. There's a few things that I wanted to go over that people addressed, and they have legitimate concerns. The main issue that I wanted to discuss first is the residency preference. The residency preference is a very frustrating barrier to affordable housing in the state of New Jersey, particularly in urban municipalities. The New Jersey Supreme Court stated that in order for a municipality to meet its affordable housing obligation under the Mount Laurel Doctrine, you cannot have a residency preference on the affordable units that you build. I find it very frustrating, particularly in a city such as Hackensack. I negotiated that with Fair Share Housing Center, and they were adamant that the no residency preference had to stay. So that is what happened. I had a reaffirming email after the last city council meeting from Fair Share Housing Center that the residency preference has to stay for Mount Laurel units. The city does have inclusionary overlay zones for 108 acres that is through the major arteries in the city. They are a natural extension of the redevelopment that is going on Main Street. That is where the more dense development is within the city, which is why it is the best place for the overlay zones. As those main arteries in the city redevelop over the years, the city will capture a 10% set aside in those units, in those projects. Those units can be, I know there was a concern about for sale units. Those units can be for sale units. They can be condos, they can be apartments, they can be restricted to seniors. There's nothing that restricts them in any way from being different types of affordable housing in those set-asides. One thing that happens with affordable housing, there is a new housing cycle. They come up every 10 years, so the new one starts in 2025. Hackensack will have a new obligation at that time. Whatever that number may be, it could be 0 again, as if they're designated an urban aid municipality. If there is a number, only 25% of that obligation can be met with senior units. So these are the regulations that we're dealing with, and those cannot have a residency preference. So they have to be open to the public, they have to be open first to the housing region, and then to the state as well. So those are the frustrations that we have. I wanted to give some information about our overlay zones because this is going to incentivize redevelopment and have developers come in where the more dense development already exists to hopefully redevelop and create new affordable housing. It is true that we only needed 60 units to satisfy the prior round obligation that was left over from a prior housing cycle, but that does not mean that the city of Hackensack is not creating any more affordable housing. That's what the inclusionary overlay zones are for. That is why when a developer comes and proposes a project like Railroad Avenue, there is an obligation under the Mount Laurel Doctrine to consider all proposed affordable housing projects. The city is considering it. The city is looking at other affordable housing projects that have been proposed. It's in the housing element Fair Share Plan. It's available on the city's website. And so the city is planning for future affordable housing. You asked that the city council have trust in you, and what I'm asking is that you have trust in the mechanisms that we have put forward, so that as the city redevelops, we create affordable housing.
Mr. Geddes. Whoa, officer. Officer. Enough, Mr. Geddes. Enough, Mr. Geddes. One more outburst and then police officer. One more outburst and you will be removed.
Exactly.
They both need to be removed.
No, he started.
I volunteer to
he
leave.
started it.
Good. This guy is trouble. I'm sorry, Ms. Holmes.
No, he spoke up.
There's a quorum, never mind. Everybody had the opportunity to speak. We didn't deny one person from speaking. Somebody from here speaks and you disrespect them, and that's perfectly fine and okay, and he has to leave. You know what? You know what? I think we're gonna end the meeting now. Ms. Holmes, you're done. We're gonna be done. Motion to close the meeting. You don't wanna hear from us. You do not wanna hear from
He
us.
told him to shut up. Well,
You don't wanna hear from us.
both of them should have gone.
Motion to close. It's obvious you don't wanna hear from us. Motion to close.
You only want a one-way conversation, and that's not what this is.
Wanna come here and yell at the council? Go right ahead. Guess what? You don't have to.
You can't use the voice of one person to stop a meeting, that's the problem. Mr. Marcazani told Mr. Gaddis to shut up.
The folks to leave this.
Oh, that's
Let's
what
everybody leave the room.
Kathy, stop.
You want us to come sit with you?
Yes. No.
Yes, I can see that.
Everybody, don't even say escape.
Totally
Allow
disrespectful.
them to leave because that's what they want to do is run. But it's
I'm not
okay.
running from anywhere.
Well,
I've
Ms.
never
Holmes,